Good morning, everybody. It's me, Lori Simpson Ortega, a host of A Victorious Life and Outreach Teaching Ministry located here in the beautiful city of Roses. Hey, I've got some time before I start my day, but here's what I wanted to say. Let me get my productivity planner together. Here's what I wanted to say. I wanted to say a few days ago, and I'm working on trying to make this as quick and brief as possible. So I have one productivity planner for work and one for my business. And I apologize for how I look, but today is Friday and it is what it is. But I watch a lot of documentaries. I read a lot of books. I watch a lot of documentaries and movies. And the reason for that is because I'm sewing, all right? So it's able to pass the time or kill time. So I'm watching this documentary. Now, a few years back, I watched a documentary on elephants, okay? I think it was National Geographic, one of those. If not National Geographic, then whatever David Attenborough narrates. He's like the godfather of the Morgan Freeman of animal documentaries. But so I'm watching the documentary on elephants from mating up through death. And one of the things that I learned about the elephant is when they get ready to die, if it's within their power, they try to go back to basically the graveyard for elephants, like their elephant graveyard. Okay, well, that didn't end well for these two. But anyway, I digress. So think about that. So as I'm watching this documentary, and apparently the narrator made a comment. He said that, hey, Casey, he said that the elephants were heading somewhere. It was not the season for them to start migrating, like the Great Serengeti migration because of water. They weren't migrating towards that. He said 9 times out of 10, they were trying to migrate to their burial or death place. Okay. So in the middle of them migrating, as they were going through this one watering hole or this body of water, one of the elder elephants basically fell and died in the water. Well, because he said the elephants knew that elephant was one of the ones that were dying. So it's basically like a funeral procession where they are escorting all of these elephants that are going to die and are sickly, and they don't know if they're going to die. They were escorting them to the cemetery, all right? But in the middle of the escort, one of them fell and died in a body of water. Okay, it was deep enough to where, it was deep enough to where part of his body was exposed, but it was shallow enough that, like for you and I, if we walked out there, it may come up to maybe our thighs. So he did not fall and was completely covered in water. It was like on the edge, almost close to the bank. Now, remember that. When he died, so when they showed the elephant, he was already dead. He had probably been dead, they said, for give or take, a day or two. But all of a sudden, they showed, I think it was a crocodile. They showed one crocodile nose and then they showed our eyes. They showed some crocodile eyes. And then they showed another. And then that's when the narrator started saying, crocodiles can sense death. They immediately know when something is dead. So then that kind of piqued my interest. I was like, so they can immediately sense death. And especially when it's around water, it's in water or the perimeters of water. So so they showed that, and so they showed the crocodile. So they showed one, and before you know it, there was like 6 or 7 crocodiles. Well, they sent out, I guess, a scout. So that crocodile basically swam around the carcass, and then he went up and climbed up on it. And when he ascertained that it was dead, then basically he got back in the water, and then he went back up, and then one of them took a bite, and they started eating the part where I guess the water, it started breaking. The body was already decomposing. But anyway, so all these crocodiles, by the time they did a zooming out, all you saw was like 6 or 7 crocodiles. They were just biting. I mean, just tearing the flesh apart. Well, the animal didn't feel it. The elephant didn't feel it because he's dead. So they were all just basically, it was like a buffet. They were just eating and eating and eating. Those jokers, the narrator said, they had not even eaten 10 minutes until they started fighting. They started fighting with each other about that dead elephant. Think about that. They started fighting each other because of that dead elephant. And the one thing that the narrator said that I was like, oh my goodness. He said, there's enough, if they would just settle down, come to their senses, they would realize there's enough for everybody. Not only enough for the crocodiles to eat, there's enough for the hyenas. There's enough for whatever else, because crocodiles need water. There's a whole other side to this elephant. He said what they're doing is they made the mistake. They didn't trust the scout. The scout was the one that went around it and basically determined the size, communicated to let them know. He's like, but because all they see is food, and all they see, oh, I look horrible today. I apologize, y'all. All they see is food. All they see is, all they see is food. All they see is, I'm hungry now. So they're willing to basically fight to protect something that was meant for everybody. They're willing to fight each other for something that they all have access to. And I was sitting there and I'm listening to that and I'm thinking about that. Like, that's powerful to me. Because you know what? There is enough success for everybody. If you want it, there is enough. Why are we, there's enough. If you want to be happy, there's enough happiness. There's enough joy. There's enough peace. There's enough in this world for you to be focused on than fighting the people that are around you. There's enough. Now, this is what I want to say to believers in Christ. Stop fighting. My pen says, I'm working on me. I'm working on myself. For myself, by myself. That's what my pen says. Okay, I'm going to try to hang on to this pen as long as I possibly can. And I challenge each of you. We've got, 26 more days? before there's a new year. Don't take these old patterns of behavior. Don't take that old fight, that old ideology, that old they're out to get me, don't nobody like me. Don't take that into 2026. We don't need you being the Sherlock Holmes of negativity, trying to you be the one. Well, they don't like me because they don't like you because stop that. You've got a whole new year. Don't be like those crocodiles. You're sitting there eating, and then you realize, wait a minute, here comes somebody else. Here comes somebody else. There's not going to be enough for me. What did David say that I agree with? He said, I once was young, but now I'm old, and I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed beg bread. You have Christ. Hey, Veronica, you have Christ. You stick with him, you're going to be the winner. You will be successful if you stick with Christ. If you take care of spiritual things, you exert the natural or physical discipline to stay focused, you will be fine. But stop getting caught up. I'm sitting in a work environment. I'm telling you, unless God provides or makes a way, this is probably as high as I'm going to go in this situation. Again, unless God has ordained for me to go higher in education. Do I have the qualifications and the above all experience and the intellect to rise above being a yes, I do. Okay, I outgrew being a librarian my second year. Okay, so I'm not tripping on that. But what I'm using myself as an example, I'm simply saying I have two choices. I can either keep doing what I've been doing and saying, okay, I am spiritually, this is an assignment. I am spiritually where the Lord would have for me to be. And when it's time for me to go, he will lay another opportunity in my lap or in my hand. He'll place me where he wants me to be. He will let me know when your mission has been accomplished. And I have learned in my 20 plus or 30 plus years of being a believer in Christ, 20 plus of being in ministry, you can't rush that. Our jobs are not jobs. When we live for Christ, our jobs are not jobs. Yes, stay focused on God and keep it moving. That's what I'm saying. So I can either spiritually say, hey, I trust the plan that he has for my life. The Jeremiah 29:11, I trust it. He knows the thoughts. He knows. I can trust him and keep doing what he, being in submission to his word, his will, and to his way, and I'll be fine. Okay, I can keep doing that. But I'm saying while I'm doing that, I also have to exert the discipline to come to work, to show up to work, to do the job, to make sure I do everything that I need to do. I was at a department meeting all day yesterday. Did I want to be there? No. But I needed to be there because that's a part of job success. So that's what I'm saying. You can either keep doing, keep fighting and keep warring with people because you're not satisfied with where you are and what you have. So because somebody else is advancing or moving forward, you feel it's your mission to go sit. Don't take that into 2026. Figure out, start working on yourself. Figure out what you need to be successful, what you need to bring you joy, what you need to make you happy. What do you need? What do you need? Because if you're not careful, you're going to be like one of those crocodiles. It's enough for everybody to go around, but you up here fighting for something. Get this, y'all. Dead. You're fighting for dead things. You're holding on to dead things. You're being controlled by dead things. Dead things can be memories. Dead things can be jobs. Dead things can be friendships. Dead things can be relationships. Dead things can be the way you think and how you think. You can be fighting. I like those alligators. You're fighting for dead things. Now, here's something else that I wanted to point out in watching a lot of animal documentaries. Because the crocodiles were the first ones on the scenes, yes, they got the top choice. Yes, they got to bite off and eat whatever they wanted, whatever part or piece they wanted, for however long they wanted. But you know what? But death carries a stench. It carries a smell. It carries an odor. And once all those land animals, because remember I told you it wasn't submerged in water. It wasn't once those land animals got a whiff. I smell rotting carcass. I smell blood. I smell the enzyme that's in blood that lets me know something's dead. Once those land animals got a whiff of the air, then your days of feeding freely, your time of session, I think I want a snack. Wasn't going to be any of that. Wasn't going to be any more of that. So that's what I want you to think about. Stop fighting over dead things. You know, stop fighting over things that are dead. Let go. Get what you need and keep it moving. Don't waste your life trying to protect and fight over dead things. You're loyal to something dead. Your job is dead, but you're loyal to it. They're not gonna promote you. And I'm not saying that you're what I mean by it's a dead thing. You feel you already know it's not. That's not what God has planned for you eventually. You know you're not satisfied, but you're fighting. Yes, break that cycle for 2026. You're fighting over something dead. You know you can. We'll say like here. For what reason would I not offer to? Why would I not offer to help young, new teachers? Why? Why would I not offer to help new MTS librarians? Why would I not do that? They are, I assure you, nobody on the planet is of a threat to me because I have Christ. So I'm not going to, if I can help you, I'm going to help you. Bottom line, without, they may take my job. Okay, first of all, I'm only here for a reason and a season. This job is dead. Am I making sense? Send me a thumbs up if I'm making sense. As a believer in Christ, this job is dead already. I give it life because the Spirit gives me life. This is dead. Everything in here is going to perish. Everything in here is based on it's at the mercy of the executive staff. At present, it's at the mercy of the state legislature and our governor. Okay? So why would I fight for this if I'm a believer in Christ? Why would I allow what somebody else, another librarian, is doing on her job? Why would I allow a teacher comes up to me and say, hey, I wanted your job. I want to do your job. I have the credentials to do your job. Well, really? Okay. Well, have you ever dated before? This is how I operate. Well, have you ever dated before? No. Well, hey, if you don't have any parent conference times, hey, I'd love to come out. I'll show you the systems. Yeah, because I can't work here forever. Why would I? No one. Well, you know what she's not going to do. What he's not going to do is take my job. Go sit down. You work for Christ. You're employed by heaven. Heaven should pay you well. No, nobody is of a threat to you. Don't be like the crocodile. Stop fighting over dead things. Relationships. If that man doesn't want you, stop fighting for it. Free your mind. If that woman is not interested in you, stop fighting for it. Free your mind. Move on. If those kids don't want to be successful in life, you just keep praying for them and presenting them with opportunities. Free your mind. Focus on you. Work on yourself, for yourself, by yourself. Okay? Because I know a lot of times as parents, those of us who have fully cooked grown kids, sometimes when they're growing up, we don't realize that a lot of our parenting skill, we unnecessarily place parenting levels on ourselves dependent upon our children's success is heavily laden on our heart. So if our kids don't become Rhodes Scholars, Harvard Scholars, go to, the Yales and the Stanfords, then sometimes as parents, we feel like, oh my goodness, what did I do? How did I mess up? No. You provided food, clothing, shelter, transportation, opportunities, experiences. That's up to, at a certain age and stage, that's up to that individual. It's not a reflection. If you know you did everything you needed to do, then it's not a reflection of your parenting skills, and you should stop holding on. That's my point. You should stop holding on to these dead ideologies that you are the reason your child is not successful, or the relationship is not successful, or the job is not successful. Sometimes you got to step back and say, wait a minute. I did my part. Lord, I did everything I needed to do. Because if you're not careful, those ideology of your parents, your grandparents, society, those have already been, you've been preconditioned to think that way. And sometimes it's not about that. Some kids, some families, they have, I know y'all have seen that example where they start the people in line and say, hey, if you had both your parents in the household, step forward. Some people, some families, they are already, their kids have no reason not to be successful because they never had a hungry day. They don't know what it's like to pray for a meal. They don't know what it's like to be void of transportation. They've never had lights turn off. And I'm not here to glorify those things, but that's what I'm saying. If you came from that and you're trying to break that cycle, and now you have a child and you're struggling to break that cycle, so your child doesn't have everything that they need. They couldn't go on, every trip, or they didn't have all of these high dollar things, or they didn't have access to I'm simply saying, let go of that's a dead ideology. That's a dead mentality. Start from where you are. Start from where you are. Stop hanging on to, well, I couldn't give them this. So because I couldn't give them that, they weren't successful. No, ma'am. No, sirs. There are grants. There are student loans. There are certificate programs. There are scholarships. There are work studies. There are co-ops. If your children are not successful, that is on them. Now, if you were incarcerated, if you were out here prostituting, or as old people say, whoremongering, if you were out here doing illicit and illegal behaviors and all of that, so that you did not raise your children and your children just went to the left, yeah, take responsibility and ownership for that. Yes, do that. But make sure you apologize and say, I am to them. I am sorry. I was wrong. How can I help you now? And sometimes help isn't always about cash money. It's not always about swiping a card. Sometimes help is advice. Sometimes help is just sitting and listening. So that's what I'm saying. Stop hanging on to these fighting over dead things, arguing over dead things, being held prisoner by dead things. 2026 will be here, and God willing, if he lets us remain, then it's another opportunity to live the life that you dreamed about. It's another opportunity to start the process of making and creating the life, making it happen. So 2026, these last 24 days of 2025, you should find yourself sitting somewhere, working on yourself, for yourself, by yourself. You should also find yourself getting a little notebook or piece of paper and writing down everything you've ever wanted in your life. Everything. And then presenting that to the Lord through prayer, meditation, and fasting if he compels your spirit to fast. To say, what do I need to do to be better, do better, become better? What do I need to do to make this happen? Because I refuse to fight over another dead thing. I refuse to start another year fighting over something that is not going to benefit me. I refuse to spend another dime chasing acceptance, chasing relevance. I refuse to spend another minute or second of my time trying to chase, again, validation and worthiness. I refuse to do that. That's what you should be focused on. I refuse another year of chasing things that are irrelevant. I refuse to give up 365 days of my mentality, my mental energy, trying to figure out how to get what somebody else has, fighting them for what they have. So I'm saying to the people of God and to those of you who are deciding whose side you're going to be on, stop with all that fighting. Stop fighting over dead things. Now unto him, Jude wrote, now unto him that is able to keep you from falling and to present you faultless before the presence, I believe, of the living God. Google it. I think it's Jude chapter 1. I don't know what verse. But, and see, I'm transparent with y'all. I know the verses, but I may not know where they are, the numerical assignment of them. But think about that. Also, think about Ephesians 3:20. Now unto him that is able to basically give you, to do exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ask and or think, according to the power that works in you. Stop fighting these folk for all this dead stuff. Let that man go. That man is a carcass. That's a dead carcass. You fighting over something. You running behind somebody that can't help you, that don't want to build anything with you, that just wants to take from you. Let that woman go. She don't want you. You running behind that woman, she can't help you build. She's not trying to build anything with you. She's just trying to advance herself. And when she gets where she wants to go, she's going to cut you loose. Stop struggling with those children. Those children are grown. You provided them with food, clothing, shelter. You did the best that you could possibly do. At some point, you're going to have to cut that dead, dig up that dead trail. Let that go. You're going to have to say to your children, adult children, fully cooked, fully grown, hey, you know what? Yes, I apologize for all the stuff that I should have done, all the stuff that I didn't give you. But you're grown now. You left my house at 18. You 45. You struggle because you wanted to struggle. I tried to get you to school. You know what I'm saying? I tried to get you to join the military. That's all I'm saying. Jobs. If you feel like that you've outgrown that job and that job is dead to you, before you start quitting and being angry and resentful, you need to have a little conversation with the Lord. You need to say, hey, have I completed my mission and my assignment? Because if I have, Lord, I'm asking you to expedite my removal. I don't want to be fired. I don't want to be let go. But can you please bring about my new opportunity if I'm ready for my next assignment? Don't be like the crocodiles. Let go of dead. Let go of dead. Stop fighting for dying. Stop fighting for stuff that is not going to add value. Well, you know what? Again, I apologize. I got some things going on with my skin, my aging skin. And tomorrow is a hair day. So we're going to flat iron all this, get these ears trimmed with the amazing Akiko Lou salon. And we'll see you on Sunday. As we always say, if you have Christ, you're already the winner. If you have the Spirit of the living God, you can face any challenge life throws your way. You can live a victorious life. God bless you.